Hey, Roger Martin here from Billings, Montana. Brenda Snipes is gone. It's going to come up here in a moment. Uh, Republicans held on to what they needed to do in Florida. Uh, they made a major difference. It's going to be a major problem in 2020 unless we get the voting fraud controlled in Florida. We'll see who was appointed after Brenda Snipes and if they can be honest in their voting problems in Florida, Dade County, and other places. But it also shows that Trump had great influence on his visits there and made a big difference.
It creates a real, I would say, red firewall against any potential blue wave, and I think we can learn a lot.
This red firewall was the Republicans that stood up to the great fraud and the great voting, great turnout in Florida. This made all the difference in the world in these guys getting in there that were elected, and it is still key because of the great voting fraud that is going on in both parties, but especially in the Democratic Party.
About that as we compete in whole states around the country preparing for the president's reelection.
Well, now you point to the very issue that the president has been making the last couple of days, and that is that he was the difference maker in all of this. I want both of us to watch and listen to Kellyanne Conway, advisor to the president on this issue.
I think that Governor Scott and Congressman DeSantis ran excellent campaigns, but this president getting in there several times in those last 6-7 days really made the difference. And also him encouraging them not to bail on their clear victories.
So is Florida becoming, and we've always called it a swing state, and we've seen problems with voting in the past, but is it one party more than the other more than ever before?
Yeah, I mean, I think Florida has benefited from unified Republican government, and voters did not want to make a change there. But to highlight Kellyanne's point, if you look at the places that had enhanced turnout, it was the two media markets where President Trump had made recent visits, in the Panhandle where I reside and in Southwest Florida. So again, I think the president could take a lot from the fact that when he goes somewhere, he is able to gin up Republican turnout. Also important to note, in Florida, President Trump won no major party voters. That's non-Republicans, non-Democrats, by 4 points in 2020. We slipped.
So non-party people up 4 points. And you're going to see the black vote and Asian and Spanish vote increase too. He doesn't talk about that. But Florida will become more and more politically important, as well as Texas.
Slid a little on that metric in this last election, and so the president will need to win back some of those no major party voters. And I think that you've already seen a tone from the president that wants to embrace working together and progress and getting things done for just everyday folks who expect the government to work for them. So I think that's really the key to success.
Now we're talking about the State of the Union. He asked for unity, he asked for working together, and the Democrats are fighting him, digging in and fighting him. Really sad. So that means voter turnout and voter fraud is more important than ever.
I got a tweet from him over the weekend congratulating Andrew Gillum is one of the things that you're talking about. Let's talk about Brenda Snipes. Boy, this just got weird. I mean, do we actually know that the misplaced 2,000 votes? And can you just take us, what are the facts that we know?
Misplaced 2,000 votes. What an understatement.
So there are still major chain of custody issues with ballots. When they did the machine recount, they did not have the same number of ballots that reconciled to what they had been consistently reporting. And so the
machine recounts did not add up to what they reported. Big voting fraud evidence right there.
We've really just seen a hot mess down in both Broward and Palm Beach counties. I don't want to let Palm Beach County off the hook for their illegal duplication of ballots.
Illegal duplications in Palm Beach, as well as Dade County problems there. What a mess.
Without any sort of rational or legal basis. And so with Brenda Snipes leaving, the hope is we'll be able to appoint someone there who isn't political, but who could just keep the trains running on time, and most importantly, will embrace transparency. We have provisions of Florida law that would allow us to detect fraud or irregularities a lot earlier in the process, but Brenda Snipes ignored the law. She didn't make those.
Brenda Snipes ignored the law. She should be out. They both said that she is going out. We'll see who replaces her and if she becomes less political and less treacherous than Brenda Snipes.
required reportings, and that's why we were ultimately always playing catch up to try to understand what had happened instead of knowing along the way that we have an election that has the appropriate amount of integrity. So I think that Ron DeSantis will appoint someone there who doesn't view the job as a political job, but that really is able to execute on the mechanics of running a clean election.
Well, it was interesting because you talk about her politics, but, you know, on the other side of the aisle, she messed up in a couple of primaries for Democrats, too. It just bogs the mind as to how long she could keep that job. She quit, though. She's gone. Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, great to see you. Thank you again.
So there she goes. She's gone. Thank God. They need to get that sheriff out, too. And the news is not reporting on that, but there's a lot of pressure on him to get out. Whether or not he will, we don't know yet. Again, this is Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. People stand up to these criminals and these political elected crooks and get them replaced. It's our civic responsibility to do so. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.